Welcome to the True Self Talk, right after our Connect with Your True Self energy healing training session. My name is Jona Bryndis, and I've been doing these free energy healing sessions here at transCODES for now 12 years. Quite amazing. And the longer I went with doing this, the more energy healers came to my classes and began to volunteer to help out with these large sessions. Yeah, so I want to thank Cindy and Aneta and Jared for holding the field for all of us and for, well, contributing in this way to make this a good experience for you guys. So the question is, what is a good experience? Yeah, so you can already tell I have a little sort of niggly undertone here. A good experience in an energy session is not that it makes you feel good. And the ego wants that, but that's not the goal. It's not the purpose of an energy session or energy healing session. You might think it is because healing is associated with feeling better, right? The absence of pain. But that's not actually what healing looks like on an energetic level, on this holistic level, how we do this here. Yeah. Healing is determined or defined by the increase in consciousness level, the increase of your vibratory resonance. And for many of us right now, the increase of our vibratory resonance leads to something that we call awakening. So awakening, as part of our healing process, as part of our healing learning curve, our healing journey, is basically the influx of truth, the influx of more truth. So we have these three main resonances that we need to arrive in the middle, to arrive in our Christ consciousness or higher consciousness. Freedom, freedom in a sense of knowing that we have a choice, recognizing that we have a choice. It always needs to come first. It doesn't always come voluntarily. It usually comes through some kind of catharsis or some kind of pain or some kind of lack or loss or something that puts us in front of a wall where we kind of have to make a choice. Can anybody here relate to this? I'm still in the intro for our True Self session to capture these energies that we are riding right now, these solstice energies. Anybody ever arrived at the awareness that you actually have a choice through feeling you don't have a choice at first and then realizing that you actually do? Anybody ever been in that place? For me personally, that's basically my life. Every time I thought I was sort of at my wit's end, and I thought there was no way out, that's when I had new insights. That's when I learned, well, there's always at least a third option. So the ego sees the black and white. Really only sort of binary, yeah, either good or not good. So anything that's not good is bad. Anything that is not good is bad is not actually a very conscious outlook. Yeah, because when we go through something that forces us, can you guys make sure that you have your microphones turned off, please? Just so that we don't have any accidental overlap. Yes, thank you, Kim. So freedom allows us to recognize that we have a choice. And it's kind of something that we need to bank. Yeah, so think when you were a kid, you weren't free, and all you could think of was, have your own place and decide your own things, and nobody's your boss anymore, and all that, and that's part of our normal sort of evolutionary journey until we get to that place where we can decide everything, and then we realize, when we have to really, really choose everything, that also puts a lot of responsibility into our hands, and there's something kind of lazy, something easy about not having to make choices. And this can be an unconscious hindrance. I'm just mentioning this because everybody will be so in agreement about wanting to have freedom, but not everybody will actually be wanting to live with what comes with freedom, namely the responsibility to make choices. So freedom being the one pillar that always needs to come first. And you guys are here. You guys have chosen to spend an hour, 2 hours in total of your time at the solstice right now. Yeah, we're heading into the peak of the solstice in a few hours, which expresses something about you. It expresses that your connection or your relationship with your true self or your higher self, has importance to you, maybe even, is sacred to you, which is wonderful. So you have a choice. Yeah, this is a free session. It doesn't really require much. Yeah, all it takes is to show up. That's your choice. So for all of you who have issues with present moment awareness, you have to be fully present with yourself. Honestly, it's just a choice. You can choose to be present at any time, and all it really requires is a few deep breaths. Yeah, and maybe closing your eyes. For most people, that's the easiest way. And there you are. You're connecting with yourself. Now, connecting with your true self, there is a step up from that. It connects you with the second pillar of what is needed to understand yourself and the universe, and that is truth. And truth is, just like freedom, one of those things that, of course, if you ask, and who wants truth, everybody will raise their hand. But we know that truth also comes with, well, inconveniences. There's a lot of things that fall away when we are in truth, and this is always here in these Connect with Your True Self sessions, sort of the pivotal point. Yeah, are we afraid of connecting with our true self? Yeah, are we afraid of seeing something? Are we afraid other people could see something about us? And those are always kind of questions that arise, with sort of this opportunity to go deeper. And you may remember this, there may have been times where, you weren't quite ready for it yet, and that's totally okay. This is why I do this every month, and you can come here as many times as you want. Now you learn over time that connecting with your true self is not a scary thing. That's actually an empowering thing. And why is that? Because as you are connecting with truth, you're beginning to see your reality for what it is. Now, when you prefer, or if you prefer to stay in an illusion or a fantasy or rather unconsciousness, then, well, seeing things the way they are and accepting them and working with them can be tricky. You this is, I hope we don't have any children listening here, but it's, like the insight, that Santa may not exist, that it's been the parents, who've just created this illusion and who went with it and who, got the gifts. In order for us to actually arrive in this world fully and understand the world, well, we do need to know about that. So there are certain things that come with truth that are instrumental for us to be able to navigate our reality and to navigate our world, to understand how things work, how we work. And that then has a sort of a recursive backlash on freedom, because once we understand ourselves better, we also understand our choices better. And in return, the reward is that we can make better choices. But you can already see, I'm already pointing out sort of the obstacles, in this journey, regardless of what it is that we are encountering, due to our choice and due to truth that we are inviting in these sessions. The last and most important pillar, some of you may know this, is love. Not the kind of sentimental or romantic love, but the love that connects us with all there is, and most importantly, the love that we can feel for ourselves and all that is in this world along with us, be it rocks or crystals or sunlight or warmth, water, air, fire, lava, for that matter, people, pets, animals. Well, love is the stuff that we are made of. And these are the three, gateways, if you will, that you walk through, to form and cultivate the relationship with your true self. And the reason why I'm breaking this down for you here today as a sort of reflection of the experiences in our Connect with Your True Self session is that we experienced quite an interesting field here today. And maybe Cindy, Jared, Aneta, if you want to chime in here, what some of these observations that we had, what those were, and how we can overcome some of these resistances, these obstacles that arise in us when it comes to actually truly arriving in truth and freedom. Love is the consequence of being in truth and freedom. So without freedom to choose and without truth, we cannot truly love. We cannot truly connect. We cannot truly manifest. And again, I'm not talking about romantic love. I'm talking about the love for all that exists, including yourself, including your higher self, including, the energy that you have to contend with, including the laws of the universe, the laws of manifestation. And so awakening as sort of this this impulse, this spiritual impulse, and this invitation to align our inner self to the outer world. Yeah, this was the main impulse here in the session, the invitation to align our inner self to the outer world is what I am reflecting on here. And that is what, came forward for you in various ways. Everybody has a different journey. Everybody has a different priority. We all have slightly different values, although we all kind of seem to strive for the same thing, namely wisdom, understanding ourselves and the world that we're in better. Yeah, so facilitators, how would you describe this session? Yeah, the observations that we had here during the session, and then I would love to ask you, those of you who participated and came here for the True Self Talk, how you experienced it on your end, how your inner experience of this session was. Cindy, Jared, Aneta, how would you describe the session from our end? What stuck out for you?
Hi there.
Hi.
It was a very beautiful session. It was a very inquisitive session, I felt. One of the things that you mentioned was there was a lot of incongruence in what our inner and outer worlds were reflecting from each other. And I felt the impulse to question that. Like, so why do I see or feel a certain way on the inside, and it doesn't match up with what's on the outside? Well,
Mm-hmm.
I have to look at that back on the inside, and you called it right out as, it definitely is an inside job. So where am I fooling myself? Where are the illusions inside of me that are incongruent with what I want and what is happening outside of in my world, basically, and how I see the world? So
Yeah, this conundrum, right, between sort of wanting to play an active part in my reality and wanting to manifest, my higher expression, and really wanting to go for this. Yeah.
yes,
And then at the same time, though, running into all these things that don't seem to match up, and
right,
where that incongruence, yeah, that where it doesn't match up, where that's rooted. Yeah, where
yes,
does this come from? Anybody familiar with this investigation? Yeah, this inquisitive thought that Cindy mentioned here. Why does my life not match up with how I imagine it? Anybody? Anybody ever ran against this wall? Having good intentions, doing so much to live a conscious life in some areas, and yet still not being able, at least questioning, why this isn't reflecting in your outside world. Anybody ever asked themselves that question? Or are you guys fully aware of why your lives are the way they are?
Hi, Jona. I woke up just in time for the session. I'm like, oh my God, I can feel this energy coming in. And then I'm like, oh, the true stuff. And I looked at the time, bingo, it's 8 a.m. here. I felt this in the session. I went in and I could feel my heart and I could feel everything. Oh, here, ask my true self. And then I'm feeling this beautiful energy coming in. And then I started to listen to my thoughts. And my thoughts were very negative and incongruent. And I'm like, oh, here's where my focus goes. This is what throws me off center. This is what pulls me out, because
You're not doing this on purpose, right? No.
My belief, the thoughts that I tell myself, the feelings that it brings up, myself, well, I'm self-bashing, but not in such an extreme way that I used to at all, because I can feel when I do that. But it's still there. So I'm lying on my bed and this is how my focus goes to what isn't true, but what my ego tells me. You're not good enough. You're this, you're that, or try harder, whatever it is. I'm like, oh my God, I'm just spending so much time and energy in that space. And then I came back to my heart and my truth, and I'm like, oh, and then I could feel this this beautiful energy come in, and that connection. And I know what's true. There's such a there's nothing that pushes against that. I know what's true. I know who I am, and feeling that felt.
How could you make that shift, Julian? This is very interesting. You caught it, okay? You caught it and you corrected it, or you shifted it. How did you do that? This is such a typical question. You know, like what you just described is so absolute typical, yeah, for most of us awakening here to, you know, all these automatisms that we have, including, you know, our thought world. Yeah, our thought world is almost like an autopilot. It doesn't, for the most part, reflect what we want or what we want to focus on. It just does that. How did you catch it, and how did you correct that?
It's like a running stream that just continuously coming through, and there's my focus, there's my attention, and then my belief and my feeling goes into those words, into those thoughts and my feelings, and then I feel myself drop into a lower vibrational thoughts, patterns, feelings, but being in the true self and having our focus go, because this is what we're doing, our focus is coming into true self. I'm like, I allow that to come, I allow that to come in, to actually feel it. And all those other false thoughts, those negative thoughts, even my shadow thinking, because I see that that's part of my shadow, or looking at, oh, you're not good enough, you can't do this, well, I've got money problem. It's like an endless, you can feel it, it actually feels lower, it feels negative. And I know that's not true. I know that's not who we are. I know that the light in us, the love in us, and the true self in us doesn't even go in those directions. So I'm like, oh, well, if it's not that, then I am the observer of that. And that's that instant recognition that I can observe myself having those thoughts. And
that's huge. Yeah, this is huge. Like as in like the instrument, the instrument that allows us to catch these unconscious, processes that are going on inside of the cells that often work against us, right? Self-bashing and, you know, telling yourself that you're not good enough, and why didn't you, and why haven't you, and and you're not deserving, and all these kind of things, including blaming others. Those are all things that are just going on. They're going ons. Yeah. They're not actually consciously thought by you at that very moment. But the fact that you could observe them, that you could say, wait a minute, what is this thing thinking here? What is this? brain saying right now? This isn't me. That's huge. Okay, this is what we call awareness. Okay, and when you take your awareness, yeah, and you combine this with choice, with truth, and with love. Yeah, love in this case, when it's about uncovering your own negative inner self-talk, it'd be self-love. Yeah? I would never allow anybody else to talk to me in this way. How am I allowing my own brain to bring forth those kind of thoughts? Yeah, you're making a choice there. You say, no, I don't want to think that. I want to have my conscious thoughts. And that is beautiful for us to, because it's really, really difficult to describe this. It's a beautiful example for us how this must go in us. We have to uncover all these going-ons yeah, of our monkey mind, because that's where it starts. Here at transCODES, I always refer to mastering your thinking, yeah, as one of the first sort of prerequisites for finding higher vibrational solutions, higher consciousness, because without that, you keep believing the story. And that story or the narrative that you're not good enough, or that you this or that, or that you should have, or whatever, yeah, is not an internal message that is coming out of a mixture of what comes in through collective messaging. Yeah, we have, the big propaganda machine called advertising, yeah, that injects certain comparatives, yeah, so what we should live up to, yeah, role models, or what we should compare ourselves to, which is one problem. And the other problem is that we are also surrounded by a lot of people who themselves also have this negative inner self-talk. So as these antennas that we are as humans, yeah, just these energy picker-uppers, whether we're aware of it or not, yeah, we are, sort of buying into all that it is surrounding us, that we are exposed to, yeah, our environment, the terrain that we're finding, we're buying into this, and now. And this is the hard part with arriving in the true self. Now we realize how our ego is, well, more or less buying into this. Now there's a part of us that identifies with all of this. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you're without fault, or that you're never making mistakes, or that, some of these things that you hear your critical inner voice say, they might be justified. That's fine. But it's not justified, yeah, to run this like a tape 24/7, 365. That's insane. And that's the terrain, that's the energetic environment that we are in right now. We are under constant bombardment. Now we're being spoon-fed with everything in this world is wrong. We're all doomed. It's all going to come to an end, and there's nothing we can do about this. And no matter what we try, we're not ever going to be good enough. Consciousness allows you to recognize that. But what do you do when you arrive there, when you say, oh my God, my ego is producing all these stories and it keeps on looping it? Yeah, 90% of what I'm thinking is the same thing over and over again. And I'm not even thinking any of that myself. This is just sort of repeated stuff, programmed stuff. What do you do with this truth? And I love how you described this, Julian.
Yeah, it's coming back. So as soon as I could feel like I'm observing and I'm feeling like, okay, there's those thoughts, those feelings, and catching them and recognizing that it is just the monkey mind, that it's the ego consciousness, really, that's running the ship at the time. And coming back into the heart and feeling my true self and my true self-awareness and feeling it. And there's a really beautiful moment, actually, because I could feel like the energy is just shifting, and then it's almost like another part of me arrives inside of my body.
I love that. Yeah, that's really what it feels like to me as well. But you speaking as someone, Julian, sorry for cutting you short here, yeah, because I want to give other people the opportunity to share as well. But you're speaking as someone who seems to know exactly how to go through this gateway or how to build the bridge. Yeah, what I hear you share is that you just sometimes not catching it early enough. But when you catch it, you know what to do. Most of us still have an issue with knowing what to do. Yeah, so what do we do when we arrive at the truth? Yeah, when we awaken, yeah, and that is, on a microscopic as well, the microscopic levels, the same mechanisms. But what do we do when we arrive in truth, when we awaken to truth, when we awaken to how things truly are? How can we get that bypass? How can we learn to refocus ourselves, to self-correct, to recalibrate ourselves? That's the biggest question for most people, is how to do this. What do we do when we arrive at truth? Because truth right now, guys, and this is how our time is right now, is quite toxic. It's not a beautiful truth that we're looking at right now. Yeah, at least not when it comes to our 3D reality. And spirituality is not there to make us high and help us escape from 3D reality. That is a temptation of the dark. Truth is there to teach us something. Yes, on one hand, to more consciously choose, and on another, to realize that whatever it is that you want in your life, that you want to manifest, that you want to have, that you want to materialize, that you want to be in this life, can only be built on truth. So it's like, I think, Jared, you said something like laying the foundation stone for your manifestations. Yeah, arriving in truth is always a little discomforting, because it means that we have to let go, yeah, of all our false beliefs, false hopes, false faith, yeah? false love, false truth. That our ego resists this at first. But in the bigger scope of things, guys, in the bigger scope of your spiritual journey, it's just that little bit of a moment. It's just sort of the entering the bridge. Yeah, that's all. Now you have to keep going, keep working with truth, keep working with whatever is, even if you don't like it. If you spend all this energy, like Julianne uncovered, that's her negative inner self-talk, on resisting that, yeah, and telling yourself stories why you can't change it anyway, because it's whatever, because you're too dumb, or that it's the government's fault, or conspiracy, or blah, blah, blah. Yeah, whatever these things, I'm not saying they're wrong or not. I'm not judging anything. I'm just saying, if I want to manifest a better life, if I want to better myself, if I want to heal, be something physical, something emotional, something financial, I first need to face truth. And then I need to come to a very important insight, and that is whatever I thought was truth before I awakened was not. And that's a really, really humbling lesson, because what it teaches us is that the way we perceive reality is quite selective. Yeah. So when you arrive at that point, you typically feel a little bit of an emptiness. You feel a little bit like a void inside of yourself. Can you guys relate to this? We tapped into this here in this session. Yeah, you guys are super willing to work with truth. Yeah.
Me?
Yeah, go ahead.
I guess because I'm currently in the I guess state of in the confusion, because I think
Mm.
I'm feeling this point of experiencing loss, but trying to use it in a way that's going to help me find a better true self. But it's like, for example, in the session, I'd have just like loads of thoughts that was like, it was like kind of like distracting in a way, but it's just trying to find a way to navigate this difficult road that I'm on, to in a way that to use it to see if it would help me get to a better self, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so you mentioned a bunch of things here, yeah, that's ultimately why we all want to have a better relationship with our true self, because we want to better navigate. Yeah, we want to know what is true to us, what truly belongs to us. And the second aspect of that, you just mentioned, dealing with loss. So when we deal with loss, I started out the session with mentioning that arriving at truth often doesn't come voluntarily. It often comes through those kind of cathartic experiences in life, yeah, where we have to deal with loss, or where we have to deal with sickness, or some kind of sort of what appears to be a higher power. And in order to make sense of it, we kind of have to deal with the reality of it first. Yeah. So healing, yeah, mending, loss, yeah, can only start when we are willing to, and this is like a non-brainer right now, but there's a reason why I say this, when we are willing to accept that whatever it is that we perceive as a loss, yeah, may just feel that way to us on a level of the 3D. Yeah. So I've made it, and this may sound a little profane, but I've made it a habit of mine that when I misplace things, or when I lose something, yeah, that I don't go into resistance with it. That I say to myself, okay, this is temporarily displaced. Yeah, maybe permanently, doesn't matter. But if I'm not able to find it, if I'm not able to hold it, if I'm not able to bring it back into my life, then that is not needed for my reality right now. So I've made it a habit to kind of let go of everything in a way, yeah, so that, losses, whether it's my car key, yeah, or my computer, or a loved one, that I know a way to deal with this, that I have a strategy when it comes to losing a loved one through passing, through death or through disease. There is no, way to sugarcoat this. Okay, so that person is no longer in this 3D reality. But Kenny, if you accept that there is more than just a 3D reality, if you augment the way you see yourself, and with it also others, and the world. Yeah, like this morning, I was talking on day one of our daily sacred self, something that I do every day now at noon. Yeah, here at on the same channel, I talked about this. You know, how as soon as we begin to realize that we can witness all these going ons inside of us, it's also where we have to realize that there is sort of a higher reality in us. Yeah. So the higher reality in us is the one that can observe the lower realities. And the way this relates to you is that if you begin to just open up your mind for you not just being 3D, you're not just a body, Cami. You're not just here in this physical. You are indeed, yeah, a soul, and a soul is a spirit being. Think about it. And that spirit being had to be somewhere before it incarnated into the physical.
Mm.
And it also goes somewhere, most likely back to where it came from,
Yeah.
before it came here in 3D. So if you look at this 3D journey more like a trip, yeah, or like a class that you sign up for, yeah, and all the people that are with you on or in this class, yeah, you bond with them, you build relationships with them. But just because the class ended or the course, and it doesn't mean that you lose anything. Do you know what I mean? They're still there. You know, you could text them and say, hey, you know, I know you live in Australia, but would you like to meet up? Or, you know, do you know what I mean? And that is something that your true self can help you navigate with. Because your true self is then the translator between your 3D self and your soul self. Your true self can provide you with the guidance on how to work, how to commune, how to continue the relationship with the loss, yeah, the person that you've lost. Not as in pulling them back here into 3D, but as in, you know, recognizing that there is a higher reality in which you are still connected, in which you can still, let's say, you know, ask them for advice or see the world through their eyes. These things that mean something about having a person in your life. If you can answer, yeah, what this person meant to you in your life, then you will find ways to connect with this, and your true self is going to guide you there because your true self is already there. Yeah, so, and this is not just in your case, this is for all of us, you know, with relationships as well. Although, you know, when you break up and you go through heartache and you grieve the loss of, you know, the relationship, you know, you can still acknowledge that there's a connection on a spiritual level. But you also need to accept, yeah, that that person just doesn't want to be with you anymore. So regardless of how much you love them, you know, you can't force them to live in your apartment or to go out with you. So you have to accept that part. That's the truth part. But you can still feel connected. One can still have a respect and a love for the experiences one had with someone in the past, even if those experiences weren't all that pretty. Because every experience that we have in life teaches us something, connects us more with our higher self. That is, if we work with it, if we deal with it. In the case of relationships, if we say, oh, it's all his fault, and you know, no part in this. It was the reason why our relationship or marriage didn't work out was because he was drunk and he was blah and he was blah. When we refuse our part, in that interaction, then we cannot find it anymore when someone leaves us in 3D. But if we take on that part and say, yeah, and maybe we're not proud of our own actions, or maybe we realize that we were not appreciative or, not present enough. And then by making that aware to us without beating ourselves up, but, saying to ourselves, that relationship, that connection with that person, no matter what the outcome, no matter whether they're still around or not, taught me something important. It taught me to be more present with the people that have meaning for me, or with the things that have meaning for me. To just be more present in 3D, so that I can more consciously, and this, by the way, is the key, to navigating your reality, so that I can more consciously interact with all there is. Because every interaction is a form of relationship. And what Cindy mentioned in the beginning, the incongruence that we picked up on, this sort of chasm between what we feel and what we truly desire, but what we express in 3D, where that is not matching up. That is something that needs to be bridged. That's what I meant with the invitation to align our inner world with our outer world. To learn to become more congruent, to learn to express our true desires, to learn to express our boundaries. Many of you here in this session had issues with boundaries still. To say no sometimes. But it's not just enough to negate what we don't want. We also need to be willing to make that step to express what we do want and act accordingly. We can't turn the time back when it comes to 3D relationships. But when it comes to these meaningful connections in our life, with loved ones, they persist. And guess what it is? Truth and choice are the key. Love is the stuff that perpetuates it. Love is what makes a person continue to live in you, in your consciousness. So the best way to navigate the loss of a loved one is to continue loving them, but not in a 3D way. In the same way that, let's say, your true self loves you, or your higher self loves you, or God loves you. It's a higher form of love. And that's how we feel how we heal this. So I don't know, Kemi, if those responses here, if they can help you to tune in what it is that your true self can do for you here. Your true self lies not outside of you. It lies inside of you, deeper inside. It is much closer to who you truly are, than what you present to the world. And that is what we all now need to bridge. I talked about this in the end of 2023 energy talk, the vision for 2024. And it is, in fact, Yeah, for the next 2 years, the main theme for all of us here on this planet, will learn how to spiritually heal our relationships. And that starts with our true self relationship. That starts with the relationship between me and me. The 3D part, me, that is represented through my ego, and the spirit being in me, the soul, the higher self, the true self. That relationship needs to be mended. And this may be hard to imagine right now, but I can assure you that when that relationship begins to heal, to mend, the relationship between your ego self and your higher self, then all these things that I talk about here, about how to see your interactions with others and how to recognize that there's many, many different ways of fostering relationships, not just 3D. They will come to you spontaneously. So healing or cultivating the relationship with your true self will lead you to more insights, more choices, more truths, and more love that will then show you the way how to express yourself in your, what we call, higher expression.
Thank you.
And that was really for all of us here. In this case, Kemi, yeah, I know that this is a deep issue, right? And it is so many times in life where, the loss or the fear or, some kind of big event in our life teaches us the most important lessons in life. We have to come to an end now. We're out of time. I want to just let you guys all know there is a forum for this session. In this forum, you are free to share. Yeah. And as you're sharing, you can also ask questions. The fostering of your relationship with your true self can occur through sharing. So I want you guys to make that step to share, and then I will respond to you. If you just write, oh, please, can you do a reading for me? I will not respond. Okay? Because this isn't about me telling you. This is about you learning to understand how your true self talks to you. Okay? Yeah, so please use this opportunity, to foster your relationship. And, if you are here at the year end, to perhaps, awaken to a new life. Many of your energies indicated to me that you are truly ready for a change. Yeah, if you are ready for change now here, then take this seriously. Get your vision board out. Get your vision boards out. There's videos here where I explain the components of a vision board. Really, really hone in, commune with your true self. You can use the invocation. You can use any of my energy alignments on my SoundCloud. Any of my videos on YouTube will help you do that too. And tune into what it is that you truly want. Catch your negative inner self-talk, like Julian demonstrated here, and immediately corrected by going into your heart, kind of like pushing the reset button and saying to yourself, I am a true self. I am a soul. with a body. I have a physical experience, but my true being is actually a spirit being, and therefore I want to know more. I want to learn how to navigate this spiritual reality so that I can make better choices here in 3D. If you need a little more guidance, feel invited to come here every day at 12 p.m. Eastern US time, Florida time, this channel, to do these energy alignments with me here for the next 12 days. The 12 days of Sacred Self is a daily live stream here on Skype, and hopefully, if I can figure this out, technically also on YouTube. This will help you to form a routine and cultivate this inner connection. Yes. Thank you too, guys. Happy solstice to you as well. You can read about solstice energies on my website and the significance and importance of this. But most importantly, thank you for choosing to show up for your true self. That means a lot. All right, I see you again tomorrow at noon, and until then, stay conscious. Bye-bye.